I hate true crime podcasts.
What?
Absolutely hate them.
No.
But on the other hand, they're probably, arguably, the most popular podcasts going right now.
That could be also why we hate them.
A lot of these podcasts will do the same murderer. And people will say, yeah, I've listened to a podcast on that guy 18 times. Well, that doesn't thrill me much.
That doesn't make much sense either.
I've listened to a lot of true crime, and it sounds like they're reading off newspapers or Wikipedia.
They are.
They suck. So, that being said, I'm wanting to cash in on this.
Are we going to poke a little fun at them? I'm all in.
This first episode, I like to call Murder on the Alaskan Murderous Moonlight of Murder. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. I know all about this guy.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. It had murder 3 times in the title. It's got to be good.
Robert Not-So-Christian Hanson would become known as the Alaska's serial killer. Fucker was a Danish immigrant born in Idaho and eventually learned his father's pathetic trade as a baker. He was a shy pussy growing up. He was rail thin and had so much fucking acne he was scarred like he got in a fist fight with Fruity Krueger, who was gay Freddy Krueger.
Like Little Richard and Freddy Krueger together. Tutti Frutti.
He also suffered from a stammering problem.
He stuttered too.
No girls would give him pussy, so naturally he grew angry at them and vowed revenge on all the hotties.
His name was Sean who?
Eventually, some dumb bitch with low self-esteem married him in 1961, but divorced him in under a year, citing penis size as her main concern. Well, but actually it was arson. I'm sure Hanson is well hung, but he got arrested for setting fires and that bitch wasn't down. Half a dozen years later, he married a redskin woman and they moved to Alaska where he opened a fucking bakery for transgenders. I think. The bakery was raking in cash and Robert was balling like a motherfucker. He bought expensive shit. He had even purchased his own private plane. Those painful childhood memories weren't shit to him anymore, now that he's printing cash and laying pipe to his Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
He would do manly shit and was revered by all the Alaskan beta males. He would go kill sheep, wolves, fucking even bears.
Why wouldn't you?
He broke many hunting records and was given a cool little trophy for being hunting champion of the area. He would either use a rifle or pretend like he's Robin Hood and use a bow and arrow. So cool. Shit went south for Hanson in the early 70s. He frequented strip clubs where there was a number of whores dancing. There were a lot at this time because of a Seattle mafia boss that brought them to the Anchorage, Alaska area. Deplorable clubs that had murder, robberies, and Fogel's favorite child pornography magazines. This joint was the perfect place for Hanson to pay these ladies a couple hundo and blow a load in them. He would start driving them to his cabin for a little extra curricular. No clue where wifey was at, but he would make them strip and then handcuff them and start talking crazy things before raping them. Most of the rapes were never reported because he would threaten them with talking to the police saying that they were prostitutes. He was a clever guy, Hanson.
It'd take an hour for that conversation.
But a couple instances, he was picked up on sexual assault and abduction charges. He was attempting to rape these irresistible Alaskan housewives. He would serve half a year on a reduced sentence before getting picked up on shoplifting a chainsaw. He was convicted and given 5 years before the Alaskan Supreme Court overruled it, saying that was bullshit and too harsh of a sentence.
Seems like.
He ended up serving a year and then got back after it. He now started flying these cum dumpsters to the Nick River where he would rape, kill, and bury them in a shallow grave. Since he was a skinny weakling, he couldn't dig very deep.
The ground's hard.
But other times he didn't feel like navigating the skies, and he would let them loose on his property and hunt them. He preferred to kill these sluts with a knife, but he would settle for the kill with his trusty rifle named Ned. He used his hunting and tracking skills he learned to rid the world of these skeezers. But the world isn't always perfect, and some of these night walkers would get away and run to the police seeking help. The police didn't believe that this outstanding baker who made delectable delights could possibly be capable of this, and after questioning him, returned the whores and told them to fuck right off. Beginning of the 80s, Hanson faked a burglary in his home and got $13,000 in settlement so he could open another one of his bomb-ass bakeries. Around this time, police started finding more bodies of women in shallow graves not all that far from Hanson's residence. Still, this was only a mere coincidence to the fucktards of Alaska, so they went about their way, even though the body count was mounting. Let me set the scene here, John. It was 1983, in an absolute disgusting state of Alaska. Shit was cold, but it always is. A 19-year-old tight-bodied bitch who was on the corner waiting for a payday. A truck pulls up. Fuck yeah, score, she says. They agreed to a price on a blowy, and while she was still bobbing, he got out his other gun and pointed it at her. He would handcuff her and start driving down the icy and desolate roads of Alaska, because who the fuck would really live there?
That's why he has to fly him in.
He got her down to his basement, where he raped her up and down for hours. After a nap, she woke up and was told to get dressed, that they were going to his other pleasure cabin. He took her to his private plane, and as he got out, the dumbass didn't put his child locks on, and she got out and started fucking running away. He yelled at her to stop, but of course, being a low IQ'd whore, she didn't and ran into the road where she was picked up by another predator. Just kidding. It was a guy that brought her to safety. After a doctor's visit, they went to the cops. The persistence and testimony of this semen-sucking whore paid off, and the police department made up search warrants. They arrived at the nerdy baker's house. He was calm and acting as if nothing has happened, but he was being falsely accused. They would search his house, planes, cupboards, etc. before leaving. 3 months later, after finding more shallow graves and identifying them as private dancers, the police started questioning Hanson's friends. One of the cops, who held an IQ of 47, which is very high in the state of Alaska, knew something was wrong and didn't believe the alibis. So they followed Hanson to the bakery and basically distracted him while they searched his properties again. This time they found hidden guns, jewelry, and ID cards of the dead female victims. They were mementos, he called them, trophies. And he also had maps of the areas to the shallow graves. He was arrested and charged initially with assault, kidnapping, theft, insurance fraud, and weapons offenses. After further investigation, the bullets in these broads' asses came from Ned, Hanson's favorite rifle. He pled to 4 homicides and would give them information on the numerous other victims as long as press wasn't involved. He would show them 17 grave plots. The bodies of these penis-craving whores would be exhumed and returned to their families. Hanson was sentenced to 461 years in prison, but he didn't quite serve all of that because the motherfucker died in 2014 at age 75.